Hi y'all, welcome to the channel. My name is Calvin, and through the course of this video, I'll be discussing the breakdown of the Nikki Carburetor in addition to some do's, don'ts, and modding tips. Some quick backstory info. We acquired this car back in March of this year and have been working on it to make it a daily driver. The car we will be working on is a 1983 Mazda RX-7 GSO. The GSO trim variant sported top-of-the-line items such as disc brakes all around and a limited slip differential. Interior-wise, it featured power mirrors, windows, and a removable sunroof. Our goal with this project is to share the knowledge we have and will obtain throughout the next couple of weeks with the public. We look forward to presenting and uploading videos regularly to keep all of you informed and up to date on the build. That said, please make sure to like and subscribe as it will help the channel grow and reach others. Now let's get on with the video. Today, kind of the agenda for the video is going to be going over the breakdown of the carburetor, some do's and don'ts, and as well as some modifications. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and get the top hat of the carb off. This carb right here is a 4-barrel return style fuel system. You got your input fuel line right here, and then you get output. So yeah, right now we're going to go ahead and take off this top hat, and then we'll proceed from there. Alrighty, so after removing the top hat, the screws one, two long ones up in the front, one in the back, and these two right here, this one could be left on. I just took it off to kind of give you a guide. But after removing these screws on here, you want to lift up and turn it on its back. Alright, time to demonstrate here. Get this one off. That to the side. Is that screw here? Yep. And now this is gonna expose all your jets, your air bleeds. And then when you turn the hat on the back side of it, it's gonna expose your floats right here. One thing to do, what I recommend is always place it on the back side. So whenever you take the hat off, flip it on this back side, right? Place it on there. Don't try to place it face down with the floats. This will end up bending them, and then this will cause some flooding issues later on. Alright. So after that, we just separated those two. You can see the carb's main body right here, separated from the throttle body, or the butterflies, I like to call it. You can leave those separated. There'll normally be a gasket that goes right here. I'll go through that in a minute. Right now, let's tackle the sight glasses. So each carb should have two sight glasses, one on one side, one on the other. And behind here, there's a paper gasket, and then there's also a rubber gasket. So go ahead and take those off as well. See, on the back side, this paper gasket. You get your sight glass, and then your rubber gasket sits in there. Do the same for the other side. Go. Alright, so at this step, I'm going to go ahead and start kind of trying to talk about the carb rebuild kit. I still kind of have to get to the accelerator pump, but I'll just kind of start talking about what the kit brings. This kit, we got it from Rock Auto. It was about $30-ish, and it brings practically everything you need to rebuild a carburetor, at least one carburetor. So as you see, 1556S is part number, made by High Grade. It has this little plastic on it, just poke a hole in it. Okay. So in here you're gonna have a top hat gasket, and you're gonna have a base plate gasket. This is if you don't have your black base plate, or someone's kind of took the gasket that's on there from factory off. You could kind of use this, but I do recommend just getting another base plate, since this will give you kind of some issues with running. This gasket's for one of the evap stuff that kind of connects to the carburetor. I personally don't use it. I just leave it in the kit. And here you have your needle seat and your needle. You also have the spring for it, the washer, and then you have the little hook that goes onto the actual flow. One thing about these seats is, apologies. One thing about these seats is they normally don't like to seal right. So if you're left to only being able to use these, I would say kind of put some Vaseline on here, and then try to get it to sit on there and kind of wear a groove on there. I've also heard if you get like the back of a spoon, just gently rotate it around, that'll kind of get the needle to sit in there properly. I normally just use the old ones. I put a little dab of Vaseline on there, and that works well. Get another one as well. So you got two. That to the side. This is the gasket that goes in between the base and the actual body of the carburetor. You can see it sits like that. This is another carburetor base plate gasket. This will sit at the bottom of the throttle blades or the butterflies. Again, if yours doesn't have it, you could use it, but I just recommend getting another one of these base plates right here. It automatically already has a gasket. Don't try prying it off. It works perfectly well. Alright, here we got the accelerator pump. I'll try to kind of explain the mods I try to do with this to give you kind of a better throttle reaction. Put this to the side, put it over here. This is one of the sight glass rubber gaskets that go on there. Here's another one. Then you got your two sight glass paper gaskets. And then you got a whole array of washers and two ball bearings, some cotter pins. These ball bearings, I'll explain where they go. Yep. Let's start tackling, I guess, getting the accelerator pump off. I'll replace that first. Alright, so there is a C-clip right here, a retaining C-clip. I normally get a flathead and try to just kind of notch it out, or a pick of some sort, and just try to notch it out. Alrighty, after removing the C-clip, you're gonna have to remove these nuts right here. Like this. Yep, so remove these screws right here. Just gonna allow this shaft to kind of slide on out.
Then that pops out. So that gives the access now to this other one right here. Right. So that gives the access now to this other one right here. Right. So should check this out. One. There we go. It's kind of stuck on there. Alright. So then again, get the strap slided on out. Here you have your arm. And this is your spring. A mod I like to do on these is kind of extend it just a little bit more, about right there, right? Stick this one out. Good. Go. As you can see, this old one, it's not very flexible. It has all these cracks on there compared to the new one. The new one is really flexible. Alright, so after removing the old one, you can get your spring, and drop it in. And then you're gonna get your new one, your gasket on there, and drop it right back in. This is reversed. Right. Put your arm, slide in just like this. This point right here, facing inwards. Get your pin. Just kind of just slide it back in. Like that, and then you'll be putting your retaining clip right back on here. So that C clip will go right there. Alright. Let's put the other two. Alright, focusing our attention to the accelerator pump. So it's kind of like a two-part process. You got the gasket down here, and then the check balls. There's gonna be one here, and one underneath here. So you just get your flathead. And preferably do it one at a time, like that, you know, because there's some weights underneath here, that you know what weight goes under where. Take this out. Just rotate it. Go. Just the weight. And there's a check ball. So you just want to inspect these. Make sure they're good. So the check ball looks fine. Then get dropped back into place. And then here's the weight. So it's a check ball, and then this little weight goes into this slot right here. This drops back in. You can screw this back on. Alright. Next one's gonna be this middle one. Okay. There is a gasket that sits right there. Let's see. I'll get mine. There it is. Same procedure. Flip it over. Sometimes they do get stuck. There we go. There's that weight. And the check ball. Alright, so after removing this little piece right here, it goes right here. It goes right about right there. After removing it and checking the check ball, make sure it's rotating freely. You go ahead, drop the weight right back in. There you go. So the weight goes right into that big hole right there. Then get your new gasket, which is included with the gasket kit. Put it right on there. Get it, and then it'll sit just like this. Alright. So there it's time. You could go through here and just remove these with a flathead. I already did. But you can remove them with a flathead and just kind of spray some carb cleaner in between. Just free up the all the little holes that it has in here. Now before you go and put the top hat back on here, you want to make sure that your accelerator pump is pumping. So you just get this little lever down here, right? You can just start pumping. Make sure there's some fluid in here. That little crevice you see right there, right here, is where the fluid's gonna enter. To make sure there's some sort of fluid, you know, carb cleaner or whatever, gasoline, and then just start pumping, and you should see two little streams come out from these two nozzles right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Alright, two little streams came out, so that means it's working. Then you could go ahead and start moving on to the top hat. Alright, now for the sight glasses. You want to turn it on inside. You want to turn it on inside, get yourself a pick. Take out the rubber gasket on here. See? Now get your other rubber gasket. Just form it right in here. Just like that. Okay, set this right back down. Then get your sight glass holder right here. And there's a paper gasket here, the old paper gasket. Let's get that same pick. Bring it on out. These new these new sight glass paper gaskets, they sometimes need to get a little trimmed. So a little bit for this case here. Just get a razor blade, just kind of carve it out a little bit, and it should be good. Alright, after getting the gasket set in there, you want to get your sight glass. Place it on there. Rotate. Grab it. Place it there. Get your glass holder. And then just screw it right back on. Alright, just like that. With the other side, same procedure. The glass, set it in here. Glass holder, and then screw it on. Alright, now we can move on to the top hat. So shifting focus onto the top hat here, you want to take off these rods that hold the floats into place. Just take this rod right off. Then you want to take the float, pull it straight up. And then it's going to expose right here your needle. So the camera focus, the needle is comprised of the hanger, then you got the body, then you got the little push lever on here, and then you got a spring in there. The kit will automatically come with one, but I've always just kind of stuck to the stock ones and just put Vaseline right at the end. Alright, now you can pull off the gasket right here. Sometimes your gasket will probably be stuck onto here. This is an old one that we just had from one of the other kits, and we just slapped it on here. But yeah, sometimes you might have to scrub off and kind of get a razor blade and go through here, and just kind of like peel them off. The new gasket, grab, here's the new gasket. Just go ahead and lay that right on. Just kind of work it on. It is sometimes a little bit of a tight fit. Go. Just like that. Now, if you know that your carburetor is original, these more than likely have a screen that's attached to the seat, to the seat right here. Just pull these off. You could either take them off with a butter knife, or like a really wide screwdriver flathead. And if you don't have any of those, you could try getting a Allen key. Let me see where the other one's at. So there's these little holes right there. Alright, you could try putting an Allen key through there and then just rotating them. on off. Once you put the gasket on there, which is the reverse process, I'm gonna go ahead and put some Vaseline on here so that they could sit and then create a good seal. So installing these floats back on, you want to make sure that these indentations are facing inwards towards each other. You want to get the needle right here, this little hanger, and sit right on this little lever right there. Right? Then you're going to get the rod. It's going to fish right through. Just like that. Alright, and then after this, you can go ahead and slap the main horn back on, and then just go through the process of retiming. Just fish this back on. Make sure it sits nicely. Yep, and then you start going, putting all your screws back on here. And then I'll go through kind of some mods that you could do to the accelerator pump, to the actual body of it, and stripping. Alright, so remember, 2 long ones go over here, right up in the front, then the other ones kind of just fall right in with each other. So there we go. I gotta install that one over there. Get this guy right here. That. thing you can do is a pretty, it's not that complex, but if you do happen to have any gasket paper just lying around, you can stack this. You can stack multiple gasket papers before and after the accelerator pump diaphragm. This will just basically create some more volume. Earlier in the video, you saw me kind of extend that spring. That's part of the process of it. So you will extend the spring, cut out some diaphragms, some gaskets in the shape of the diaphragm, with the hole cut out to allow for that accelerator pump diaphragm to move, and then just stack, a couple in front and a couple in the back. I've done it before, but I would recommend kind of like putting some type of sealant on the sides, because it does tend to absorb, and you also have to get some longer bolts depending on how many gaskets you put on here. Sticking with the accelerator pump, one thing I do like to do, regardless if you do the accelerator pump or not, is kind of get a flat piece of metal similar to something like this, just any sort of metal, not too thin to where you will be able to like flex it. But essentially what you're going to do is kind of run the bolt through here, and then with the arm that's located on the throttle body, you're going to create a 90-degree angle. This will essentially allow for you to create more of a travel instead of just stepping on the gas and then all the shot is gone. You'll be able to more or less extend that duration, right? So instead of it going like this and ending really fast, it'll kind of go take a couple more seconds to end. It'll give you more of control over how you want the car to react. Another mod that I think everybody should do if you're not going to be sticking to the emissions is mechanical secondaries. So I'll try to take a picture of it, but it's kind of over here. You just get a zip tie and zip tie the two linkages together, and whenever you step on the gas, you'll be able to kind of get the secondaries that are located over here to open up whenever you want to, as opposed to the vacuum. This stuff's pretty old. The rubber's probably kind of broken apart, and that'll really be a factor as to when the secondaries will open. So I think that's a pretty good mod. It's pretty simple. It's pretty, cheap to do. You just get a zip tie them, and there you got mechanical secondaries. Stripping the carburetor. So from factory, it won't look like this. This carburetor is stripped. It will have all these little modules, and you'd have your vacuum secondary pump over here. You'd have a TPS. I call it a TPS unit here. It's this little black unit that sits right here. You'd have all types of lines and hoses running all throughout the car. I just grab them completely, take them off, and I just get the hose that are open. I just get some clear silicone, and I just kind of put the nozzle on there and just let it run through until it kind of just comes on out. You could JB weld it. You could put a JB weld right here and then put a plate on here, but I think with the silicone, you could, if you ever want to revert back to emissions and stuff, that your car could pass emissions and all that, with the silicone you could just drill it out, or get a pick through it, and then you'd be able to get through that obstacle. Yep, other than that, kind of same thing over here. You have some stuff connecting through. These two ports are for your oil control module that you have on the side of the engine. This injects oil into the carburetor so that it lubricates all the seals, all the apex seals on the inside. You could block these off. I've blocked them off, and I'll kind of remove that module from the engine, and then you just have to pre-mix. Yeah, so it's pretty simple. If you don't want to go through the hassle, you could just keep that connected. Those little two lines will stay connected. Yep, but other than that, that's kind of the rebuild of the carburetor. Pretty simple. Just kind of go by the steps. All of this, you could go online and just look through the forums. There is a forum that practically covers anything uh, related to FVs, FCs, and FDs. Uh, all the information kind of I've used on here is what I've gone from there. All the carb modifications I've kind of gone through. I got it from there. So if you have any additional questions, I would say leave one in the comments section. I'll try to get back to you. If not, if I can't answer them, then I'll kind of redirect you to that website, that forum. They also have a lot of information on there. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'll try to get the carb stacked on there. I'll try to link a photo to the end of it, and kind of take a picture of this linkage right here and how it should look. Just like that should give y'all a good idea.